Okay, we will call the July council meeting to order. If you can, would you please stand? Ogi to đi cái lần đi hay. So long you get thirsty, there's a dog guy. So go you get so we got now going. I honey elo when I got start down test guy. Now ski I got learn the got stay on. Do the way so I start this ski on siko he got. The gas ski on the gas ski too go. Now ski out those in there those too go. Halet left Steve already gas city ski out to us tonight. Ski the last gas can do yoga sign. So tell Lee hands to go who guess. Halet actually the guess. Halet along to you guess and go healer. Dear Lord, thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your prayers, and just thank you for everything you've bestowed upon our nation, and be with our visitors tonight and just guide and lead us. And we always thank you for your veterans. Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Well done. Amen. Shelley, roll call.
Yes, sir. Bill England.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Kanan Duncan.
Honey.
Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan. Dick Lay.
Honey.
Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw. E.O. Smith.
Here.
Janice Taylor. Here. Victoria Vasquez. David Walkingstick. Brian Warner. We have a quorum.
Okay, the minutes were mailed to you. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. This time, the State of the Nation from our Principal Chief, Bill John Baker.
Oseo Nagadawu. Welcome to the July Council meeting. In this month's news, we have been awarded a pilot project through IHS. We have been so successful with our Hep C program and to eradicate Hep C in the Cherokee Nation that we have been awarded a HIV pilot project as well, so that we can drastically decrease the health issues and disparities in Indian country, not only for Cherokees, but all Native Americans in our service area. We launched a new homepage for the Cherokee Nation. The redesigned site has been updated and will make it easier for citizens to get the important information. In June, we were informed that the United States Navy will be naming the newest rescue ship the Cherokee Nation in honor of all of our service and contributions the Cherokee people have made to the Navy and the armed forces since the beginning of the United States. We participated in the 5 Tribes Intertribal Council gathering this week. We passed a resolution to provide a unified, formal, and firm response to the governor's call to reopen the compact, or the gaming compact talks. His actions calls into question the sincerity of the work with the tribes in a cooperative manner. Moving forward, our sovereignty is at stake. I am so pleased and honored to introduce Loretta Shade. We are proud to bestow the Cherokee National Treasure title to Loretta. She was named this honor last summer, but fell ill. So glad she is here tonight in person to receive this deserving designation. We are proud to recognize her tonight for her expertise in the Cherokee language. Loretta was married to our former Deputy Chief, Hastings Shade, and for almost 20 years, she taught Cherokee reading and writing courses at NSU and many, many speaking courses around the Cherokee Nation. She is an expert in Cherokee culture and history, and today we are so proud to bestow the honor of National Treasure to our National Treasure, Loretta Shade. Go for a ride.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Anybody else want to?
Come on, family. Come here, Sis. Come here. You just sit right there. How's that?
Okay. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Loretta, would you like to say anything? A little bit.
I just want to accept this prestigious award, and I'm honored to be receiving this award. And I just want to covet your prayers and you being patient with me. As you can see, both of my feet are in, I guess, boots. But I just want to thank my family for being there, and I want to thank the council members and all the prayers that were said while I was in there, and still continue. That's all I'm asking. That's all.
At this time, I'm going to go through the list of those Cherokees that were with us last month that are no longer with us this month. And then we'll have a moment of silence. Cornella Beaver of Tahlequah, Rodney Buckhorn of Tahlequah, Ronald Buttry of Salisaw, Patsy Calvert of Siloam Springs, Gary Klinkenbeard of Jay, Amos Cordray of Claremore, Wesley Drywater of Tahlequah, Virgil Eastham of Nowata, Ronna Fortney of Locust Grove, Earlene Gay of Tulsa, Donetta Gifford of Tahlequah, Claude Glover of Veneta, Raymond Harris of Pryor, Terry Harris of Veneta, Ronald Hurd of Veneta, Kenny Jones Jr. of Grove, Laney Kirk of Tahlequah, Sharon Lay of Keys, a many-year employee of the Housing Authority, William Lawrence of Nowata, Samson Leach of Locust Grove, Elvis Mahan of Tahlequah, Havana Pack of Stillwell, Philip Parker of Dewey, Janet Pertain of Tahlequah, George Pettit of Stillwell, Nathan Pettit of Salisaw, Perry Phillips of Tahlequah, Gary Porter of Tulsa, Earl Presley, father of Shelley Britton Koch, our secretary, Marilyn Pritchett of Stillwell, Haven Sanders of Claremore, Ruthie Seven Star of Salisaw, Cody Smith of Claremore, Gregory Smith of Tahlequah, Betty Stafford of Pryor, Edna Mae Stricker of Cookson, a former Cherokee Nation employee, Cheryl Temple of Claremore, Christy Van of Tahlequah, Helen Vargas of Bartlesville, Aaron Weevil of Wagner, Michael White of Sapulpa, and James Jones of Pryor. Does council have others? Keith?
Yes, Betty England of Claremore.
Okay. Dr. Dobbins?
Shelley Crawford, Muskogee, Bobby Wayne Harris Sr., Fort Gibson.
John?
Sarah Jane Cochran, Stillwell.
Okay.
Dexter Van of Stillwell.
Henry Sixkiller, Jennifer Miller, Jennifer Fletcher Miller, Tanya Bunch, and Rex Van, all of Stillwell.
Mary Jo Ryder Terrell, born Texas, and according to the information I received, she was the first Native American female police officer in Texas, but I have had time to research that. So anyway, I mean, I haven't researched it, but anyway, that was the information I received.
Thank you,
Thank
Wanda.
you.
If we could have a moment of silence, please. We do. That concludes the State of the Nation.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, the Cherokee Warrior Veterans Awards, Deputy Chief S. Joe Crittenden. Deputy, I have to ask you, what did you think of the naming of that ship? Since you were in the Navy, what was your thinking on that?
Well, I think it's quite an honor that they named a ship USNS Cherokee Nation. Understand, I didn't realize this, but that's I believe they said the fifth one that's been named Cherokees, before.
But the first one, Cherokee Nation.
Exactly. And so that's quite an honor, and I'd like to be there when it's Christian,
You should.
But maybe the Lord will let me hang around that long. We'll plan on it.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, Council, guest, staff, we got a full house, Chief. It's a good thing. I've got a council member listed here that's not with us on the council now, so Kanan, I believe that's, you replaced that person, so if you'd come forward and help us with this presentation. Our first veteran tonight, we have 4. This gentleman's name is Roy G. Brown. Roy, would you come forward, sir?
That's cool.
Mr. Brown entered the Army in 1970. He was sent to Louisiana and then sent to Virginia, where he became a helicopter mechanic. He received his orders to report to the Republic of Vietnam that same year, where he became a part of the 235th Attack Helicopter Company in Can Tho, Vietnam. Mr. Brown became a crew chief on the UH-1H helicopter. His company went north to Hue, Vietnam, to assist the 101st Airborne Company's mission in Laos, Vietnam. Mr. Brown's later mission was to Lai Key, Vietnam, where he worked on the Cobra helicopter with the 3rd and 17th Air Cavalry A Troop. After returning stateside in '72, he was discharged as an E-5 specialist. Decorations, medals, ribbons, and badges. National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 2 stars, Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, Army Air Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Army Aircraft Crewman's Badge. And Mr. Brown, on behalf of a grateful nation, I want to thank you, sir, for your service to this country. Some of these shirts without pockets, they're kind of odd, you know what I mean?
Right here, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Do you have any family that would like to come down?
That whole section.
Come on, section. More the merrier.
I'll trade you spots.
Chief, I've known this young man a long time. Yes, we were
Come on down.
in the VFW together.
Use it as tight as you can for me.
Your daughter can stand right here.
The little ones can stand right here in front if they want to. Yeah, come up over here. Yes, sir.
Keep on coming.
Come on, everybody else.
They support me through everything.
Come on down.
Yeah, are you buying dinner for the family? Yeah, okay. That's how I got them here.
Okay, right here on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And we always honor and revere our warriors. Would you like to say anything, sir?
I just appreciate all that the Cherokee Nation Veteran Service has done for me. They have really helped me out.
Praise the Lord.
And there's some good people in there. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you.
That was on the floor. I guess we dropped it, Chief.
No.
But I got it back.
Okay. I guess it fell off.
Could I have the at-large council members, please? Wanda and Mary Baker Shaw, please. Speaker, our next veteran this evening is Mr. Jack E. Buffington. Jack, would you come forward, sir? Mr. Buffington entered the Navy in 1961 and he became a Seabee. His first of 6 tours with the Seabees was with the Naval Mobile Command Battalion 9, serving as an engineering officer, Charlie Company, commander and officer in charge of the Navy's Seabee Team 0906 in Vietnam. He then reported for duty to the Seabee Division at Bureau of Yards and Docks, which later became Naval Facilities Engineering Command. After duty tour in the Philippine Islands, Mr. Buffington was assigned to the Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 4 as an executive officer and acting operations officer. His next assignment was as a commanding officer of Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 1 and honorably retiring in 1995 as a Rear Admiral in the Navy. His distinguished medals and service medals: he got the Distinguished Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Navy Achievement Medal, Navy Unit Commendation, Navy E-Ribbon /5, Marine Corps Device. Is that 2 stars, Admiral? I don't know. Okay. Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Legion of Merit -4, Navy Commendation Medal -3, Combat Action Ribbon, Meritorious Unit Commendation /2, Vietnam Service Medal with Device, Philippine President Unit Citation, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon. I want to tell y'all, this gentleman, what a great service he's had. And his dad hired me in 1976 at Westville Post Office as a part-time clerk. And I retired from the post office. And Jack, I want to thank you in your father's memory, because it was a good career. And I want to thank you, Admiral, for your service to this country, the great service you provided. I can't get into mine, Joe. I don't think. Is this the one you wore?
No.
Back in the day?
This is a newer one.
We can get you one,
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's hold that up, and then we'll get a good picture. There you go.
Alright.
Up there, my wife with me.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And now we invite your wife down.
Yeah.
And Chief, she was in radio communications.
Yeah, she was in the Navy too.
Another veteran.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All done.
Admiral, would you like to say anything?
I just deeply appreciate the Cherokee Nation and everything that you people do right here. And you have the greatest reputation anywhere in the world of any tribes, any place. And it's because of the hard work of all these folks right here. And we deeply appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I need Council Member Dick Lay and Victoria, please, to come down with this next presentation. Our next veteran tonight is Con G. Davis. Con, would you come forward, sir? Mr. Davis entered the Air Force in '67. He was sent to Texas and Illinois at the Teletype Message Center and on to the Philippine Islands with the elite 1st Mobile Communications Squadron assigned to Clark Air Force Base. Communicators have got the corner on the market this evening, right? It sounds like. While Mr. Davis was stationed at Clark Air Base for 14 months, he made numerous temporary duties tours to Vietnam with the Mobile Communications Group. His last assignment took him into Thailand and South Korea. After returning stateside in '71, Mr. Davis was honorably discharged as an E-4 sergeant. His decorations and medals and ribbons: the National Defense Service Medal, the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, District 11, South Coffeyville, Oklahoma, where he lives. On behalf of a grateful nation, I want to thank you for your service to this country.
I'm going to put this little medal in your pocket. Okay. All right.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And do you have family?
My brother. My brother is also Air Force veteran. Do I have to claim it?
Well, he's kind of proud of it, so you may as well.
He tried to kill me when we were young.
That is shows
1,
love.
2, 3. 1, 2, oh, all right.
Which one was the service first? Oh, well, I did. You did, okay.
All right,
Tom,
Tom.
you're right in there. I did.
Would you like to say anything, sir?
Just a minute. This cap's 50 years old, and I wore this in 14 months in Southeast Asia from the Philippines, first mobile, and General William Westmoreland, commander of all forces in Vietnam, he said, "Who are the guys with the black hats?" And somebody finally said, "That's the first mobile communications, United States Air Force out of Clark Air Force Base, Philippines." And so we were proud. We went back and forth temporary duty. I flew over South Vietnam to Thailand, as was already said, on a Southeast Asia Treaty Organization exercise. Then I went temporary duty 2 months into Kunsan Air Base, South Korea. And I have another hat. This is for me, 50 years old. This is for my father. My father would be honored here proudly by all of you if he were still with us. My father was a prisoner of war in World War II. And proudly served Anzio, Salerno, helped liberate Rome, then was captured in the Po Valley in Italy, taken to 3 prisoner of war camps. So I wear this in honor of him. I wear this one for me. Watto to all the council, the chief, the deputy chief. I was so proud when the car tags first came out, 2003. Whenever the first car tag came out, that they put veteran on there. I cannot tell you all how honored I was to have that on my car tag. Watto, Caduce.
And a Baptist minister.
All right. Councilman Dick Lay and Victoria, would you come forward and help with this last one? Our last veteran this evening is James L. Smith. James, would you come forward, please? Mr. Smith entered the Army in 1970. He was sent to Camp Humphreys, South Korea, where he was a non-commissioned officer with the 77 F-40 Petroleum Supply Unit, refueling helicopters flying into South and North Korea, the Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ. During Mr. Smith's tour of duty, he had 5 overseas tours: Korea in '84, 3 tours to Egypt in 1990 to '91. Before his discharge, he was part of the Operation Desert Storm Persian Gulf War with 27 years of active duty, and in the reserve time, he was honorably retired in 2010 as a Sergeant First Class E7. His decorations and medals: Army Service Ribbon, Army Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Southwest Asia Service Medal with 2 Bronze Service Stars, Armed Forces Reserve Medal, Non-Commissioned Officer Professional Ribbon, Driver Badge Second Award, Marksman M16 Rifle Badge. And Mr. Smith, on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you for your service to this country, sir.
Thank you very much.
We'll hold that just a second. Take a picture.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And do you have any family you'd like to come down?
She doesn't go to the heart.
They'd rather not? Okay. Is there anything you want to say, sir?
I really appreciate the Cherokees. I'm proud to be in the Cherokee. And thank God I'm very proud to live in the USA.
That's all I have, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Is that it, Deputy?
Yes, sir.
Co-Speaker, you go take the stage again. Before we move on to the next item, there's a person I need to recognize. She was the first employee for Cherokee Nation Industries. She began her career on June 16, 1969. She and Cherokee Nation celebrate 50 years in business this year, and we hope you'll join us in honoring her. Lizzy's original employee number is 9. Not 999, but 9. She officially retired on June 16, 2019, 50 years and 10 days after her first day at CNI. Lizzy, are you here? Would you please come down? Chief, would you, and Deputy? Go ahead. We have a gift here for you, Chief, you and Deputy. You want to accompany her? We don't let ladies stand by themselves. But we have a small gift for you here from the Tribal Council, and Councilor Vasquez will bring it to you. Do you have family here? Yes. Bring them down.
Come on, family. That'd probably be everybody. We thought about it.
Yeah.
You just told your favorite kid?
No,
There we go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Daddy.
1, 2, 3. Very good. Got it. Thank you.
Drive 100 miles away from me. I could just drive 15 minutes and I was home. And my in-laws was one that take care of my babies. Those 2 boys were standing over here. They were little. And the first day that we started, W.W. Akira made a speech. And he said that Adair County was uneducated Cherokee Indians. They were known that. But he said, but I know they can work. If they learn something, they can work. And he told us, if a person came to work that couldn't read, y'all make them do it. Set by y'all can teach them how to do it. And we've done that. They didn't know how to read the rulers, but I used to put tape where they can cut the wires or sleeve it, whatever, or if they was going to put their IDs on there. That's what I did. And those other ladies did the same thing. And the first day that people started, and Brian Mize was the first CEO. And he was raised at a buy-in. He was half Cherokee and half white. And he was working a company, a telephone. And so he came for 6 months to get started for that, in that plant. And the supervisor, and the first one was Rudy Wood. And Peggy Glass was the secretary, the first one. And Leo, a walking stick, was the maintenance man. And John, a Blackwood, you all probably know him, he was the preacher. And he was the cage man. That's where all the, in the parts, he was there. And Beth, and she passed away, that she was the first lead. And me and her got attached real close. And she was older lady and I was young. And she always tell me, said, I could adopt you. And she was the mama, I guess you can say, for all of us. Then Emma Nakedhead, and she's gone too. And Faye Beard, and Carolyn Payton, and Brenda Springwater, and Jenny Mae Smith, and Junior Ross. He was the youngest one that started there. And he was good working man. And we had to work hard to get that. There was 13 of us started. There's only 5 of us living now. But then afterwards, and they're hard people, and they were a working people. Now, a person that can't read can't work over there now. And it changed to, you have to take the class before you can work. You have to. But every year that we still have to take a class to renew things, what we need to learn. But, and there's few people are still working, that elderly people. And I just thank the Lord that He supplies our job at Stillwell.
Although Lizzy, committee reports. Thank you, Counselor. Cherokee Nation Business LLC, Mr. Chuck Garrett.
Well, thank you, Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to address the council this evening on behalf of the 7,700 hardworking men and women at Cherokee Nation Business. And I'd like to just give a special thanks to Ms. Duvall for her efforts over the years. We're very proud of the example that she has set for C&I and the tradition and the legacy that she will leave there. We, as you know, remain committed to that business. It's been a business that served so many people in a lot of different ways, and I know the communities very well that benefit from that, and so thank you very much. The detail of CMB's April's financial performance were summarized in the report that was distributed to the Executive Finance Committee previously. And I just wanted to add, in addition to those monthly dividends that were outlined in that report, CMB's non-dividend financial contributions to the nation include retail sales taxes of slightly over $346,000 and liquor excise taxes of roughly $21,000 for a total non-dividend financial contribution of just under $368,000. Regarding the job creation, CMB currently has a workforce of 7,516 employees. We are permitted to apply a Cherokee and Native American preference on 4,559 of those positions. 70.2% of the C&B employees are Cherokee citizens, and an additional 6.5% of these C&B employees are citizens of other tribal nations, for a total of 76.7% Native employment. Other news at C&B and around the nation, Cherokee Nation Cultural Tourism has new exhibits that kicked off in June. The new exhibit at the Supreme Court Museum opened June 14th, and it is called Where Has Your Flag Flown? It gives details about the history of the Cherokee Nation flag, explaining its history and symbolism. I encourage you all to go if you have an opportunity. It's a wonderful exhibit. At the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tulsa, we've been recognized by the AAA with one of the travel industry's most coveted distinctions, the 4-diamond rating. This is the third year in a row that we've received the rating. Track 5 at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino announced free concerts in July. No Justice, Jesse Keith Whitley, David Bluff, and the Jameson Rogers will all be playing. Our 13th year of thoroughbred meets came to a close at Cherokee Casino Will Rogers this past month. We offered 10 races per scheduled day. Featured stakes were guaranteed no less than $50,000 per race. The series offered nearly $500,000 in total for the Oklahoma bred program and more than $3.7 million in total purses. The Cherokee Nation Film Office held casting calls Saturday and Sunday at the Hard Rock. We assisted on casting for a film starring Wes Studi called Wildfire, which will begin shooting in and around Tahlequah later this month. Dozens of locals answered the casting call, including several Cherokee Nation citizens, some of whom are likely to receive roles. The film will be utilizing the Oklahoma Film Rebate Incentive Program, and the production is using a local bank for all their banking and payroll, also staying 20 nights in local hotels and patronizing local businesses. C&B is proud to host more than 20 interns this summer, continuing to work on building the future pipeline of employees that we need to continue to sustain our growth. And we're very proud of these young people who are very talented and show great promise, and with a little mentoring, we think will develop into great leaders for the future of our company. Mr. Speaker, that concludes my report, and I'm happy to try and answer any questions that you or others might have.
Any questions for our Vice President? Without divulging any proprietary information, what's the status in Arkansas?
Well, we're continuing. I'll be there Wednesday and Thursday, and we're continuing to work closely with the legislative body of Pope County to explain our proposal and to hear their concerns and their desires. We're working, like I said, diligently just to hear what they're really wanting to see a casino be, and we're trying to explain our proposal so that I think it's very positive at the moment.
Anybody else? Always good report. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Speaker. Appreciate that.
Moving down to old business, none pending. New business, Councilor Taylor, you want to take that?
I will. It is an act amending Legislative Act
Mr. Chairman,
22.
I'd like to amend the agenda
You want to finish
put
this
on
one first?
Put on the Rules Committee Act and the 3 Community Services resolutions, all in total, and I put that in form of a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I request each of the motions to amend the agenda be taken separately.
Second.
where is my attorney for the, a motion's been made for,
And second.
and second, for the, to amend the agenda.
Well, technically, all four of those items are separate motions. So I know this hasn't come up before, but usually you can adopt them all as amendments together as long as there's no objection. If someone's objecting to this, then they have to be treated as four separate items because they are four separate motions.
Okay. All right, you got a motion and a second. Then I have to adhere to the taking them separately. Is that what you're saying?
It's a technical question. It's a question of privilege, so.
Okay, I need a second on the division.
And it's not even really a division, it's just,
Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and ask for one.
as chair,
Okay,
you have.
all in motion. I need a motion to take all of these separately. I need a motion. Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Hey, Speaker.
Roll call vote.
Point of clarification. The vote that we just took was to amend number 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the new business.
Yes.
And that's what we just voted on.
Well, no, what we did is we voted on to take each one of these 4 items separately.
Okay, so we're going to vote to amend these separately, 2 through 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me ask for some clarification, if I may, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Mike.
I don't mean to slow things down.
That's okay. We got
But
it all night.
we had a motion and a second.
Okay.
First, to take them all together. Should not that be voted on first? If you have a motion and a second, you got to take that, you got to take that first.
Let's have our counsel answer that first, and we'll see.
Technically, these are.
A motion and a second was made. Let's address that.
On your.
Yeah, for total.
For total. Well, I mean, technically, they should be all taken separately if somebody raises the issue. I know this has never come up, or doesn't ever come up, but since they are 4 separate motions.
The council has consistently taken all of the acts and resolutions together over when amending the agenda at the full council meeting.
Right.
And that's all I'm going by. That's all I know. So.
Yeah.
And that has
And we
been-
usually do. And that's what I was wanting clarification here. Mr. A.G.?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As well, you may know, I dealt with parliamentary procedures in the past. Ms. Snowfire is correct. When each one of the items that was listed in the motion are separate legislative acts that require technically and correctly a motion to amend each one of amend the agenda on each one of those acts. Each one of those motions require a 2/3 vote. You know, at this point, what would be properly before the council would be the first piece of legislation that Mr. Lay mentioned. Take a vote on it. If it has 2/3 of vote, it's added to the agenda. Second, third, fourth, respectively.
Okay, did you understand?
I understand what he's saying, but I take issue with it because this council has consistently gone the way that I tried to do it tonight. And so that's my point.
Is it because we've never had anybody oppose the motion for amending the agenda? That we're taking these separately?
Well, and that's part of it. The rules of procedure of the tribal council that was adopted has specific rules on how items come to the council and on agenda. Where those specific rules are silent, it states that it will follow Robert's Rules of Order. Robert's Rules of Order require the amendment of an agenda on each specific item by a 2/3 vote of the body. All 17 are present. 12 would be a 2/3 majority.
Okay, so where are we on the motion? We had a motion and a second.
Right.
Now we had a request for division.
Well, and as Ms. Snowfire says, technically it's not even a division. She is requiring that each legislative item that passed out of committee to be amended on this agenda be voted on separately, and that's her right to do so as a counselor.
Okay.
We take the vote. If they have 2/3 of it, it's on the agenda to be considered.
Okay. We voted on it, but I don't think it was unanimous. Is that correct, Shelley?
Correct.
You requested roll call and we never got that far.
Okay. Okay, clear.
Yeah, go ahead, what are we voting on?
And I apologize, I just asked for the clarification.
Yeah, me too. Okay. It appears like we're voting on the motion and the second to take each one of these legislations, 3 from community service and 1 from rules, 1 by 1, correct?
You can take that vote, but the request, as would be correct under Robert's Rules of Order, is to take the first one that was mentioned by Mr. Lay and vote on it to see if it has a 2/3 majority to amend the agenda. That would be the proper stance of the
Number
council.
2, is that one he's talking about?
He said all 3 of them, all 4 of them.
I'm not sure where he's going, but he's the general. So.
Okay.
Well, the proper way is to not even vote on the motion to amend the agenda to separate all 4 items.
From the request is going to...
The correct procedure would be to take each separate motion, think of them as 4 separate agenda items, and treating them as 4 separate motions to amend. Now,
Okay.
as chair, you can make a ruling on your own.
That's why I have an attorney.
The proper procedure. The proper procedure would be to take each one separately, and the reason why this is coming up right now.
I take that request.
Okay.
Okay, but first, let's go back to the order here. Councilor Taylor? Yeah, that's first.
Okay, so this is number 1 on our business, and it is an act amending Legislative Act 22-18, authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2019, Mod 9, and declaring an emergency. I put that in the form of a motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Councilor Lay, you want to take number 2 out of rules?
And so I'll need to, I'm still at loss here, so I need to amend first.
We're just going to do them one by one.
Okay, your ruling is just go ahead and
Just,
take off. Yes, sir, I got you.
Sir, Speaker.
Yes.
It's a motion to amend.
Okay.
For each
So he's
one.
going to make a motion to amend, and if that passes, then we're voting on that item
But
again.
That's where
I
we
got it.
started.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
I'm making a motion to amend the agenda to add the Rules Committee Act to be voted on.
Okay. Got a motion?
Is there some discussion?
Yes, second.
Motion and second. Discussion.
Okay. All right. I just want to, I see some of my constituents here. What we're doing right now, it's kind of confusing to even someone who's been on here 4 years. There's 4 items here that we talked about in committee today and we voted on. And in the past, we've always, since my 4 years, I'm not going to say always, we've always grouped them up and added them all to the agenda. So what we're doing right now is it's the legislation that rejects the pay raises. So that's what we're going to vote on right now to get this on the agenda. So your district's representative can have a vote in your voice. So I'm hoping this gets on. So
Yes, is to amend the agenda.
Speaker,
yes, sir.
Just point of clarification, what Councilman Critton was saying. If this body, the 17 of us, vote no to not amend it, they are essentially voting themselves in a raise of $85,000 for the tribal council, and then $1.4 million over the first term for Chief-elect Chuck Hoskins Jr., and then 104% raise for Deputy Chief-elect Brian Warner. And the biggest concern I have with this, it's a conflict of interest. 3 out of the 5 compensation committee maxed out to Chuck Hoskins Jr. and Brian Warner's campaign. And now, before they even started the job, they're making recommendations for it to get them an enormous pay raise. You know, we just listened to Lizzy Duvall, a 50-year employee at CNI, at Cherokee, Adair County, which the average household income in Adair County is $19,000. And we're about to quadruple that by paying political elites. And, you know, one of the biggest problems I have with this is we haven't made it yet. We have not made it in the Cherokee Nation. When you go into these rural communities and you see our Cherokee people and their struggles, and you hear about contract health referrals being denied, you hear about housing needs, you hear about unmet needs because of we're not in a financial state to supply those, but yet we're going to go and give ourselves a pay increase. You know, earlier I quoted a scripture. It says, "For where your treasure is where your heart is." And God measures a man by his heart. And I'm asking each council member in this room right now to think Cherokee. Don't think like the way our federal government's operating. We're not a federal government. We are an Indian tribe that needs to put our Cherokee people first. Amen. But this lady up here, this Lizzy Duvall, if you guys hear her, it gave you chills. And we need to turn back to a time in history when Cherokees are helping Cherokees, not Cherokees helping themselves. And as the late Principal Chief Wilma Maykeller, which she was in this room at one point, time and time again throughout our history, the Cherokee people had faced adversity, but sometimes it was of our own making. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. And I've seen, Todd Hembry, I've seen Chief Baker making their rounds throughout the council office all day today, talking to council members to try to lobby them to vote a certain way. I think it's an injustice, and it's a kick in the front teeth to every hardworking Cherokee. We have Cherokees right now that have not received a pay raise in 6 years. And some of them are working 2 to 3 jobs just trying to make ends meet. And we're about to give ourselves a 104% pay increase. We're about to pay our chief $1.4 million over 4 years. I did not get into this job to get rich. And I don't think any of you guys got into this job to get rich. We all campaign on helping Cherokee people and provide housing, providing care for your citizens. But I'm not going to get too emotional about this because I've tried to get unattached from the issue, because I do care about our Cherokee people and I do care about Cherokee Nation. I grew up as a young kid running these hallways in this complex. I grew up coming to this council meeting back when Joe Byrd was chief, when Chad Smith was chief. I grew up in this area. But it's hard for me to swallow where we're at today, and I'm about to end my term as council. And I hate to end it on this note. And I want to apologize to each and every Cherokee citizen that's sitting in here that grew up Cherokee, and you're having to watch our tribe go through this decision we're about to make. I'm sorry. I should have tried harder. I should have fought harder for you guys. And I apologize. And every council member that votes yourself a pay raise, I'll pray for you. That's all I have, Speaker. Thank you.
Point well taken, Counselor.
We love you.
Yes, Counselor Lay.
And Chief, thank you for bearing with me here. I've got a technical question that probably takes 2 more lawyers to answer, if that's okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so we've got 17 of us here, and I'm citing on the 2 attorneys who stood up a while ago. And so we've got 17, so the motion to amend the agenda to add this takes 12, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so if we don't get the 12, then it's not added tonight.
That is correct.
And so does it roll over 30 days from today?
It will go to the, it would go to the next council meeting, which would be in August.
And so at that time, is it too late to reject this raise? Probably.
I will be probably asked that question officially, so I would hesitate to state that at this meeting at this time. Send me that question, and I'll gladly.
My understanding is we got to do it. We got a window, and if we don't do it,
You'd probably end up in court.
Probably, but
Mr. General, and I appreciate what you just said, but I think you know one way or the other. I think I know the answer to that.
I will tell you that the statute, the Citizen Compensation Statute, says that the pay raise must be specifically rejected by a legislative act within 30 days of its presentation.
Yep.
That's what the act says. That's what the law is of in the Cherokee Nation.
And so we got it, or I got it on July the 2nd.
Okay.
So we won't be back here unless we get a new full council meeting in 10 days. By the time that time limit expires, I think that would be correct. Is that right?
That would be my interpretation.
Yep. And so, folks, it's tonight or never. And if we can't get 12 people to at least put it on the agenda to discuss it, then that's pretty sad. Thank you, Chief.
Yes. Okay. Shelley, let's do roll call vote, and you can start with me.
What are we voting on?
Just want to clarify what we're
Clarify.
We're voting whether we can add this to the agenda or not.
Yes and no.
Yes, amend.
Yeah, yes to amend, no is no.
no.
Roll call, Shelley.
Did you say start with you?
Yeah, you can.
Joe Byrd,
Yes to amend?
Sean Crittenden,
Yes.
Mike Dobbins,
Yes.
Ken Duncan,
Yes.
Wanda Hatfield,
No.
Rex Jordan,
No.
Dick Lay,
Yes?
Mike Shambaugh,
Yes.
Mary Bakershaw,
Yes.
E.O. Smith,
No.
Janice Taylor,
Yes.
Victoria Vasquez,
No.
David Walkingstick,
Yes.
Brian Warner,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes.
Keith Austin,
No.
Harley Buzzard.
Yes.
We have 12 yes, the agenda is amended.
Okay, coming out of rules number 2, Counselor Lay.
And I'll defer to Mr. Crittenden if I can.
Okay.
An act rejecting the recommendation of the Citizens Committee established under Legislative Act 01-15, which calls for a pay increase for elected officials. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We've had quite a bit of discussion. Anybody? Okay, so let's clarify this. So a yes vote is rejecting the recommendation from the compensation committee. Is everybody clear on that?
Clarification, Speaker.
Yes.
Yes vote is for no raises.
Right. Yes means no. Okay. Shelley, roll call vote.
Mary Baker Shaw,
Yes.
Leo Smith,
Yes.
Janice Taylor,
Yes.
Victoria Vasquez,
No.
David Walkingstick,
Yes.
Brian Warner,
Abstain.
Bill Anglin,
Yes.
Keith Austin,
No.
Harley Buzzard,
Yes.
Joe Byrd,
Yes.
Sean Crittenden,
Yes.
Mike Dobbins,
Yes.
Kanan Duncan,
Yes.
Wanda Hatfield,
No.
Rex Jordan,
No.
Dick Lay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mike Shambaugh.
Yes.
We have 12, 4, and 1. The motion passes.
Out of the Community Service Committee, Counselor Warner, you want to take that?
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to add a resolution requesting Bureau of Affairs Disaster Assistance Fund.
Get a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Counselor Warner, you want to go ahead and take that?
A resolution requesting Bureau of Indian Affairs Disaster Assistance Fund. I put that in form of a motion.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Okay, resolution number 4. Need a motion to amend.
I'll make the motion to amend.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Counselor Austin, you want to go ahead and take that?
This is a resolution authorizing the application of Federal Highway Administration Tribal Transportation Program bridge funding for bridge number 249 over Horse Bean Creek in Tulsa County, Oklahoma, not in for its approval.
Got a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Resolution number 5. Counselor Buzzard, you want to take that?
Yes, I make a motion to amend this resolution.
Got a motion to amend resolution number 5.
Second.
Got a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Counselor Buzzard, you want to take that?
Yes, a resolution approving and authorizing the submission of the fiscal year 2020 Indian Housing Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Put that in the form of a motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Got any announcements to my right? Any announcements to my left? Audience, oss the weedsy, everyone drive home safely, do the dog on, wadon.